Hi everyone, it's Diana Rankin here in Ohio in the US, and we are having an absolutely glorious day. So I thought I would come outside and talk to you about this upcoming week's messages, which is June 18th to the 24th. And in the US, it Sunday, which is June 18th, will be celebrated as Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers and grandfathers and fathers of horses and dogs and cats, and as well as two-legged ones. Well, what is this week going to bring? This is going to be two words I have for you. One is abundance and one is sensitivity. For every one of you who's watching this video, thank you. By the way, if you're new, thank you for joining us. If you keep coming back, thank you so much. You touch my heart and you encourage me, and I'm so grateful for your messages either below or those you send me privately. So thank you so much. Everyone who's watching this video, this message is sensitive. Whether you call yourself an empath or a psychic or medium or clairvoyant or whatever label you put on, it doesn't. I don't care about the labels as much as I want you to know you're extremely sensitive, and that sensitivity is not always easy to deal with, as I think you already know. So I want to come back to that word abundance, and I haven't finished with sensitivity because that's mostly what we're going to talk about today, but I want to come back to that abundance because I'm not an astrologer, so astrologers could probably explain this better, but there's an energy of abundance this week. Now, abundance of everything. Little critters keep coming up and visiting, so forgive me for rubbing them away, shooing them away. They're probably a bunch of little fairies, but they're also gnats and little flying things. Anyway, um, abundance. If you're expecting money in, this is the week it's going to come. But abundance also isn't just about prosperity. We're going to see an abundance of everything. And so it's going to feel a little overwhelming. And that includes an abundance of emotions. But we're going to in the US, it goes without saying, we're going to see more tragedy. We're also seeing that spreading worldwide. Certainly, England, the United Kingdom's getting their share. Syria. I mean, it's just, what is going on in the world today is not easy to deal with. And it's how can our hearts hold all of this human tragedy that's taking place, and in the U.S., the horrific um, shootings and the terrible bigotry that has come out of the woodwork, so to speak. How does one heart deal with that, especially when they're sensitive? Well, I want to tell you a little bit about my story because I think that will help you relate, and then I want to tell you ways of dealing with that sensitivity. And again, I think I sat down in um, a place where little critters are coming into the video to say hello, so forgive my scratching. Anyway, um, I used to live in California. I grew up in Ohio, moved to California, and then I did come back here. But I lived out in the Southern California. I lived down in the Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach area. I even lived a couple of years on the eastern shore of Long Beach, and I spent a lot of time in Palos Verdes because I was going with someone and we spent a lot of time together. Anyway, my last couple of years in California, I found that I didn't quite pass out, but I felt like I wanted to pass out. I was having, I would be driving along the freeway and have to get off because I would suddenly feel dizzy and disoriented, and I couldn't deal with it. And I didn't know what it meant. Uh, then I started, because I traveled quite a bit, and I started passing out, literally passing out on airplanes. Well, physicians would say, okay, your blood pressure tends to dip, and maybe that's what's doing it. that your blood pressure gets a little low, maybe you're anemic. I mean, there really was no cause for the passing out. The airplane pilots would say, don't sit in the back of the plane because the noise, you're sensitive to the noise. I got over that. But I also want to tell you, again, this goes back to when I lived in California. I couldn't go into grocery stores until around midnight when nobody else was there or very few people were there. And I talked to somebody about that. And I ended up in therapy. What's wrong with me that I'm passing out or that I can't go to the grocery store? What's going on with me? Well, two things were told to me. One is that grocery stores are about survival and you're just being sensitive to the energy. The other thing that was told to me was the therapist said there are strange people in our world and you just happen to be one of them. I'm using strange people kindly. That's not quite what he said. He used another term and I won't even bring that up, but it meant pretty weird. So I kept looking at this and thinking, okay, what's going on? What am I not dealing with? What is so hard for me? I know I'm sensitive. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. Of course, I'm sensitive. I thought everybody, by the way, saw people in spirit world, and then when I found out they didn't, I really, really pushed that down so hard. I thought I would never ever bring it back. I didn't want to see people in spirit world. So anyway, the years went on, and what I found out is I was just so sensitive to the energy around me, the energy of the world. How do I deal with that? What do I do? And so these are the ways I've learned to deal with that sensitivity. And when I do my workshop, Awakening to the Deeper Intuition, I teach people how to deal with that sensitivity and not to always live in it, but it's like pulling a shade down over your heart. I want us to live with open hearts. I want us to spread love in the world. But the world is not that sensitive. In fact, studies have shown that only about 20% of the people in the world are sensitive. That means 80% aren't. So we're living in a world that's not kind to us necessarily. So we have to be extra kind to ourselves and to each other. So one of the things I want you to be able to do is leave your heart open, but when you're out in the world, you may have to pull it down, like pulling down a shade over your heart. Don't put steel doors on it. Don't close it up, but just pull the shade down. That may help. The big thing that I think is necessary is also whenever you go out in public, just imagine that cone of perfect light, divine light coming in through the top of the head, going through your physical body and then out from your body, and allowing yourself to feel protected in this big, beautiful, protective bubble of divine light. Call in your spirit guides, call in your angels, call in your warriors, call in your protectors at any time you feel the need for that. I always tell people, like with a glass of water at work, put a piece of paper over it or use a bottle with a cap on it. Water's a conductive of energy, and so energy is attracted to water. Energy is attracted to a lit candle. A lit candle, of course, that takes care of the energy, like burns any of the negative energy that you're picking up. With the water, if it's running, it's cleansing itself. But if it's just sitting there in a glass, you're drinking it. When you leave work or leave a place at the end of the day, go out and step on Mother Earth. Stand there with your feet, bare feet if possible, and shake off the day before you go into your own home or even your own vehicle. When you go home, sage your home. And as you sage those stale corners where energy's been caught, just say a prayer. And if you're not uncomfortable doing that, have a friend help you or hire someone who does that, who will sage your home. I moved out to the country. This is where I live. You can probably hear the birds singing. You most likely won't hear any sirens. I love the city. I love to visit the city. I'd love to have a town home or a loft in the city as well as my country home. But I had to move away from a lot of movement in the city. Excuse me, I put the dates up here, and I see that's flying around. I taped the dates, so you probably see me looking at them at the beginning, but I taped them up on the tripod because I can't remember them. Those silly numbers again. But anyway, these are several ways that you can protect yourself. Anytime you spend in nature, especially nature where the song of the birds are singing or the flowers are in bloom, or even in the winter time when there's a brook and water's running, or any time you can spend time in nature, that will help protect you. I always say I'm an outgoing introvert because I love people, I love being with people, but I also find with that sensitive nature, I do have to spend time with myself. And so you may find that also. So those are a few ways we need to protect ourselves, and I need you to use those this week. That doesn't mean we stop sending out love, but that does mean with a lot of abundance in the energy. Again, we can pull in that money, but it also means it's a time when we're pulling in, there's a lot going on in the universe. And in our world today, I don't have to tell you this, there's a lot going on that is very painful to be a witness of. And so those of us with very sensitive hearts and sensitive souls, we do have to do those things that protect us. If you have other ways of protection than I've mentioned, comment below so those who watch these videos can see your comments and maybe there's a way that can help them. There are tons of other ways than what I've taken the time to mention here, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. And I want to make sure that we get our message from Philip. Now, this is an oracle book. Every page has a different wisdom on it. And this is from Philip, my spirit guide. And so think left or right because every page has its different little wisdom on it. And so we just flip through till my thumb kind of says stop, or I hear stop in my head. So think, what are you thinking, left or right? Here we go. Ah, that's where we're stopping, and I'm hearing right. But I'm also going to remind you of the left because I think we've heard it before. But here's the right. Dissatisfaction with another's attitude can teach you about that which is within you. Dissatisfaction with another's attitude can teach you about that which is within you. That's a wonderful, wonderful wisdom. Every time we see what's going on, what we think is wrong with the other, we want to look at our own lives and say, okay, what is going on here? Do I need to be more compassionate? Do I need to be more understanding? Is there a hidden anger that I've not looked at? So every time we see what's going on with the other, that's not to say we don't hold the other responsible for their actions or their words or their deeds. Of course we do. But we also get the opportunity to look at ourselves. And I want to remind you, if you can see the darkness, you can also see the light. Oh, my friends, you are light beings. Everybody listening to this, every one of you, your soul, your spirit agreed to come into this time. And agreeing to come into this time does not make it easy, but you've got the strength, you've got the old soul spirit behind you. And you came into this time to help us usher in a new world, a world of greater love, a world of greater compassion, a world of oh my gosh, greater beauty. And as I sit here on this land that I am steward of, that I am so grateful to be able to listen to at night and in the daytime, I look around and I see the birds and the butterflies and the fresh flowers and the peace of Mother Nature. And I am so grateful to be able to share it with you. I remind you, if you can see the darkness, you can see the light. Let us see the light, but let us protect ourselves as needed. Thank you, my friends, for being with me today. I love each and every one of you, and I am so grateful for your messages, for letting me know that these few words I have for you are helpful. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the sound of the birds. Enjoy my sacred land.